The cruise liner, Celestial Dream, moved through the darkness of space like a floating city of lights. Inside, 3,000 passengers from dozens of alien species enjoyed their vacation. The ship had restaurants, gardens, and entertainment halls. Nobody expected trouble this far from the dangerous zones. Taemin sat at his communications station on the bridge, monitoring the usual traffic. He was one of only 5 humans working aboard the ship. Most of the crew came from peaceful species who had been traveling the stars for centuries. Humans were still new to the galaxy, only 30 years since first contact. Many aliens still saw them as curious creatures from a strange little planet. The attack came without warning. Red lights flooded the bridge as alarms screamed. Captain Velthar, a 4-armed Belusian, gripped his command chair with all his hands. "Report!" he shouted. "6 ships decloaking," Taemin called out, his fingers flying across his console. "They're Vrakthil design. Pirates!" His heart pounded, but his training kept his voice steady. The Vrakthil were known across the galaxy. They didn't just rob ships. They took people and sold them as slaves. Every spacer feared seeing their distinctive red and black hulls. Energy beams struck the Celestial Dream. The shields flickered and died. The ship shuddered as secondary systems failed. Through the viewport, Taemin saw the pirate vessels closing in like predators surrounding wounded prey. "Shields down," the tactical officer reported. "Engines failing. They hit us with some kind of disruptor." Captain Velthar made a clicking sound of distress. "Send a distress call. All frequencies." Taemin's hands were already moving. He broadcast the SOS across every channel he could access. His message was simple and desperate. "This is the cruise liner, Celestial Dream. We are under attack by Vrakthil pirates, 3,000 civilians aboard. We need immediate help. Any ship, please respond." The bridge door exploded inward. Vrakthil pirates poured through, their weapons raised. They looked like walking nightmares, with scaled skin and too many teeth. Captain Velthar raised his hands in surrender. The crew did the same. "Move to the main hall," the lead pirate growled in broken galactic common. "Resist and die." Taemin kept his hands on his console, trying to look calm. As the pirates herded the crew away, he pressed one last button. The SOS would keep broadcasting automatically. Maybe someone would hear it. Maybe someone would come. In the medical bay, Dr. Hei-Wan heard the alarms and locked down her emergency supplies. She was the ship's senior physician, trained on Earth and certified by the Galactic Medical Board. When the pirates burst in, she stood calmly with her hands visible. "I'm a doctor," she said clearly. "These people will need medical care." The pirate leader shoved her toward the door. "Move, human." Hei-Wan walked ahead of them, her mind racing. She had done her military service years ago, like all Korean citizens. The training came back to her now. Stay calm, observe, wait for opportunities. The main passenger hall was chaos. Thousands of aliens crowded together, crying and holding each other. The Vrakthil pirates walked among them, counting heads and marking the more valuable species. Some passengers wore expensive jewelry or carried signs of wealth. Taemin was pushed into the crowd. He found Hei-Wan near the center, helping a wounded Belusian child. "Did you send the signal?" she whispered in Korean. "Yes, it's still broadcasting." He looked around at the terrified faces. Most of these species came from peaceful worlds. They had no concept of real violence. Their civilizations had been stable for thousands of years. Wars were things they read about in history files. Humans were different. Earth had only stopped major wars 50 years ago. Every human grew up learning about conflict, danger, and survival. A massive Vrakthil stomped onto a raised platform. His armor was decorated with bones. "I am Crix the Render," he announced. "This ship is now my property. You are now my property. Behave, and you will live to serve new masters. Fight, and you will die slowly. Many passengers wept. Some fainted. The Vracthil laughed at their fear. Taemin felt anger burning in his chest, but he kept his face blank. Haewon touched his arm gently, a warning. Not yet. Hours passed. The pirates forced the passengers to sit in groups while they prepared the ship for transit. They would take the Celestial Dream to their hidden base, where the passengers would be processed and sold. Taemin watched everything, memorizing faces and counting weapons. Haewon did the same. Neither said anything, but they were both thinking the same thing. If help came, they would be ready. In the communications bay, the SOS beacon continued its steady pulse. The message traveled through space at the speed of light, reaching farther every second. Most species had abandoned military channels long ago. The Galactic Union had peacekeepers, but they were far away and lightly armed. But Earth still listened to military frequencies. Humans still maintained war fleets, even though other species thought it was wasteful and paranoid. 4 light hours away at Luna Base, Admiral Ji-won sat in her command center when the alert came through. Her staff brought up the message on the main screen. "Distress call from the Celestial Dream," her communications officer reported. "Vracthil pirates, 3,000 civilians." Ji-won studied the data. "How many of our people aboard?" 5 crew members. 2 are on the list, Taemin and Haewon. The admiral stood. "Wake up 3rd Fleet. I want 6 ships ready to move in 10 minutes. "Admiral, the Galactic Union protocols suggest we wait for peacekeepers." "We're not waiting," Ji-won cut him off. "Those are our people, and 3,000 civilians who called for help." She looked at her staff. "Show them what happens when someone threatens a ship with humans aboard." The Luna base erupted into controlled chaos. Crews ran to their ships, engines powered up. Fighter pilots sprinted to their craft. Within 8 minutes, 6 warships were ready. Commander Dong-hyun stood on the bridge of the dreadnought Indomitable, the pride of Earth's fleet. His crew moved with practiced efficiency. They had trained for this. Humans always trained for this. "All ships report ready," his tactical officer said. "Take us out," Dong-hyun ordered. "Maximum acceleration. I want to be there in 4 hours." The human fleet launched from Luna Base and accelerated toward the crisis. The ships moved at speeds that would seem reckless to other species, but human vessels were built strong, and human crews could handle forces that would kill most aliens. Aboard the Celestial Dream, the SOS beacon kept broadcasting. Taemin sat among the other prisoners and allowed himself a small smile. The message had been sent. Now they just had to survive until help arrived. He didn't know if anyone had heard. He didn't know if anyone would come. But he knew humans. And if there were human ships nearby, they would come. They always did. The command center on Luna Base hummed with activity. Admiral Ji-won stood before the tactical display, watching as her fleet accelerated toward the crisis. Around her, officers coordinated the response with calm efficiency. "ETA 4 hours at current speed," the navigation officer reported. Commander Dong-hyun's face appeared on the main screen from the Indomitable. "Admiral, what do we know about the target?" 6 Vracthil ships, standard pirate configuration. They've disabled the Celestial Dream and taken hostages. Ji-won pulled up detailed scans. 3,000 civilians, 5 humans among them. A younger officer spoke up nervously. "Admiral, shouldn't we coordinate with Galactic Union peacekeepers? Protocol suggests—" "Peacekeepers are 12 hours away," Ji-won interrupted. "By then those ships will be gone and the hostages scattered across a dozen slave markets." She looked at the officer. "How long have you been in the service?" 3 months. "Ma'am, then let me explain something about humans." Ji-won brought up a file on Earth. "What class death world are we from?" "Class 12, ma'am. One of the highest danger ratings in known space." "Correct. Do you know what that means?" Ji-won didn't wait for an answer. "Most species in the galaxy evolved on gentle worlds. Light gravity, stable weather, few predators, They developed intelligence because their planets allowed them time to think. She zoomed in on Earth. We didn't have that luxury. The display showed Earth spinning in space, beautiful blue and white, but the data beside it told a different story. Gravity 1.3 times galactic standard, violent weather systems, dangerous fauna, mass extinction events every few million years. Earth tried to kill us for 3 million years, Jiwan continued. Ice ages, volcanoes, floods, predators that hunted us, diseases that killed us. We survived because we learned to fight back. We learned to make weapons. We learned to work together. We learned to never, ever give up. She pulled up historical records. Images flashed across the screen, battles and wars from Earth's long history. While other species spent thousands of years in peaceful philosophy, we spent thousands of years learning how to survive. Every generation faced death and fought it off. Dong-hyun nodded from his screen. The soft galaxy meets the hard species. Exactly. Jiwan looked at her young officer. The Galactic Union has been peaceful for 200 years. They've forgotten what real danger looks like. But we remember. It's in our bones. Our ancestors passed it down through our DNA and our culture. She brought up medical data comparing humans to other species. Our bones are denser, our muscles stronger, our reflexes faster. A human can survive injuries that would kill most aliens. We feel pain, but we can push through it. Evolution made us tough because anything weak died on Earth. Another officer added, the psychological differences are even more significant. Most species panic under threat. Their fight-or-flight response overwhelms them. Humans have that response too, but we can control it. We can think clearly in combat. Because our ancestors who couldn't do that died, Jiwan finished. Natural selection is brutal, but it's effective. She switched the display to show human military capabilities. When we joined the Galactic Union 30 years ago, they were shocked. They couldn't understand why we still had armies, why we still practiced war games, why our entertainment included combat sports and battle simulations. They thought we were barbarians, someone said quietly. They did? They still do, some of them. Jiwan smiled coldly. But when pirates attack their ships, who do they call? When raiders threaten border colonies, who responds? We do, because we're the only ones who remember how to fight. She pulled up footage from a previous engagement. A single human frigate facing 7 pirate vessels. The battle lasted 9 minutes. The pirates lost 5 ships and fled. The human ship had minor damage. Deathworlders, Dong-hyun said. That's what they call us behind closed doors. Species from planets so dangerous they produced apex predators. Let them call us whatever they want, Jiwan replied, as long as they remember what it means. On the Indomitable, Dong-hyun briefed his crew. The dreadnought was massive, bristling with weapons that made alien engineers nervous. Humans didn't use the standard plasma weapons favored by the galaxy. They used railguns, kinetic weapons that fired solid projectiles at incredible speeds. Why do humans prefer kinetic weapons? A Belusian exchange officer once asked Dong-hyun. Because they work, he had answered. Plasma dissipates. Energy shields block it. But try stopping a tungsten rod moving at 3% light speed. Physics doesn't care about your shields. Now Dong-hyun watched his crew prepare for battle. His tactical officer, Bo-ra, ran simulation after simulation. She had already calculated 5,000 possible scenarios and their outcomes. Standard pirate tactics suggest they'll use the hostages as shields, Bo-ra reported. They'll threaten to kill prisoners if we approach. They won't have time, Dong-hyun said calmly. By the time they realize we're serious, it will be over. In the fighter bay, Lieutenant Yu-na checked her spacecraft for the 3rd time. She commanded a squadron of 20 fighters, small agile craft that could outmaneuver anything in the galaxy. Other species needed computer assistance to fly in 3 dimensions. Humans did it naturally. Their brains evolved for tracking prey and predators in complex environments. Yuna had 47 confirmed kills in her 3 years of service. She was 26 years old. Most alien pilots twice her age had never seen combat. "Ready for another run?" her wingman asked over the comm. "Always," Yuna replied, settling into her cockpit. The fighter wrapped around her like a second skin. The neural interface linked her directly to the ship's systems. When she flew, the fighter became an extension of her body. In the Marine deck, Commander Hyun-sik inspected his assault team. 200 Marines in light tactical armor, armed with weapons that would make civilian aliens faint. Humans had been fighting each other for thousands of years. They knew every possible way to hurt, kill, and destroy. But they also knew discipline, control, when to fight, and when to hold back. "We're going in hot," Hyun-sik told his team. "Hostages on board, so watch your fire. But these pirates killed innocent people. Show them what happens when they mess with our ships." The Marines checked their gear silently. No bravado, no jokes, just professionals preparing for work. An alien observer might think humans were cold and mechanical, but they would be wrong. Humans felt fear like any species. They just didn't let it control them. Back in the command center, Ji-won received updates from all 6 ships. The fleet moved as one unit, perfectly coordinated. Human crews trained together constantly, running drills that other species considered excessive. "We waste resources on military readiness," a Galactic Union representative once complained to her. "There are no threats. Why maintain such large fleets?" Ji-won had smiled politely. "Because the moment we stop being ready is the moment threats return. Peace isn't the natural state of the universe. It's something you maintain with strength." The representative hadn't understood. His species had known peace for 5,000 years. They couldn't imagine real war. Humans remembered. Every history class taught the Great Wars. Every child learned about the struggles their ancestors faced. It wasn't glorification, it was remembrance, a warning and a promise. Never again would humans be helpless. Never again would they be unprepared. 3 hours to contact," the navigation officer announced. Ji-won activated the fleet-wide comm. "All ships, this is Admiral Ji-won. We're going to rescue those civilians and punish the pirates who took them. Show them why Deathworlders don't make idle threats. Show them why you don't attack ships with humans aboard." Across the fleet, 3,000 humans prepared for battle. They came from Earth, from Luna, from Mars, and the outer colonies. They spoke different languages and followed different customs. But they all shared one thing. They were human. And someone had called for help. The Vrakthiel pirates celebrated their easy victory. In the Celestial Dreams cargo bay, Crix the Render and his officers divided the valuable hostages from the common ones. Wealthy aliens would bring high prices. The rest would go to labor camps. "Any response to their distress call?" Crix asked his communications officer. "One reply, human ships, they say, coming from Luna Base." The officer laughed. "They claim 4 hours away." Crix made a gurgling sound that passed for laughter among his kind. "Humans? The Death World primitives? Let them come. We'll be long gone before they arrive in their slow ships." But the officer was looking at his screen with confusion. "Commander, I'm detecting something. Multiple ships on long-range sensors. They're moving very fast." "How fast?" "Too fast. The readings must be wrong. No ship can accelerate like that. The crew would die from the forces." Crix pushed him aside and looked at the display. 6 contacts, burning hard toward their position. The acceleration numbers made no sense. "Check the sensors. They're malfunctioning." "I did, Commander. 3 times. The readings are correct." The officer's voice trembled. "Those are human warships, and they're moving at combat speed." For the first time, Crix felt a touch of concern. "How long until they arrive?" "At their current velocity, 90 minutes. "Impossible." "They said 4 hours." They must have accelerated harder after the transmission. Crix stared at the numbers. The acceleration would create forces that should crush any organic crew. What kind of species builds ships like that? Deathworlders, another pirate whispered. I've heard stories. They can survive what would kill us. Stories, Crix snapped. Prepare the hostages for transport. We leave in 1 hour. But something nagged at him. The Vracthil had raided across the galaxy for decades. They knew which species to avoid. The insectoid hive warriors were too numerous. The crystalline shardlings could survive in vacuum, and humans. The stories about humans were different. Not about special abilities or technology. The stories were about something worse. Determination, persistence, revenge. Commander, the sensor officer called out. The human ships are launching smaller craft, dozens of them. Fighter class, Crix said. Let them come. Our point defense will handle them. But as he watched the tactical display, his confidence wavered. The human fighters moved in patterns he'd never seen. They didn't fly in straight lines or standard formations. They weaved and spiraled, each craft moving independently but somehow coordinated. It looked random, but it wasn't. It looked like chaos, but it was perfectly controlled. They're moving at 8 Gs, the officer reported. 9, 10. How are the pilots not dead? Crix had no answer. Aboard the Celestial Dream, Timon sat among the other prisoners. He had been counting time in his head. 4 hours since the SOS. If human ships had responded immediately, they should be getting close. He caught Haywan's eye across the room. She gave him a tiny nod. She was thinking the same thing. A Vracthil guard walked past, and Timon spoke up. Your sensors detecting anything interesting? The guard backhanded him casually. Quiet, human. But Taemin saw something in the guard's body language. Tension, fear. His Korean military instructors had taught him to read enemy behavior. This pirate was nervous. Good. Outside, the human fleet closed in. Commander Dong-hyun stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, watching the tactical display with cold satisfaction. Range in 5 minutes, Bo-Ra reported. The pirates are trying to power up their engines. They want to run. Don't let them, Dong-hyun ordered. Young-ho, jam their systems! The electronic warfare specialist's fingers danced across his console. On it, Commander! Hitting their navigation, communications, and jump drives. They're blind. Young-ho was a genius with computers. While other species used standardized systems, humans still learned how to improvise and hack. Earth's fractured history meant humans developed thousands of different computer languages and systems. Human hackers could break into almost anything. Jamming successful, Young-ho reported. They can't call for help, and they can't jump to hyperspace. They're trapped. Dong-hyun activated the communication system. He spoke in perfect Vracthil, his translator implant handling the guttural language. Vracthil vessels, this is Commander Dong-hyun of the Earth Defense Ship Indomitable. You are holding 3,000 civilians hostage. Release them immediately and surrender your ships. You have 3 minutes. On the pirate flagship, Crix listened to the transmission. 3 minutes? The arrogance stunned him. What should we respond? His officer asked. Crix thought quickly. Bring me 2 hostages. I'll show these humans what happens when they threaten us. 2 aliens were dragged to the bridge, a Belusian child and her mother. They cried and begged. Crix activated his own transmission, making sure the humans could see. Human Commander, Crix said, I have 3,000 lives in my hands. Leave now, or I start killing them, starting with these 2. He pulled out his weapon and shot both hostages. They died instantly. Crix expected the humans to respond with threats or anger. Instead, there was only silence. Long, cold silence. Then Dong-hyun's voice came back, and it was like ice. Your 3 minutes just became 30 seconds. Tactical, you are weapons free. The human fleet opened fire. The Indomitables' railguns fired tungsten rods at a fraction of light speed. The pirates' shields were designed to deflect energy weapons. Against solid projectiles moving that fast, they were useless. 3 pirate ships exploded in the first salvo. The projectiles punched through their hulls like paper, the kinetic energy turning their interiors into shrapnel. Crix screamed orders, but his fleet was already in chaos. "Return fire! Destroy them!" Plasma beams lanced out toward the human ships. The humans didn't even try to dodge. Their shields absorbed the shots easily, and their armor was thick enough to handle what got through. "Why aren't they taking damage?" a pirate officer shrieked. "Because they build ships to take hits," Crix realized. "They expect to be shot. They design for it." The human fighters arrived like a swarm of angry hornets. Lieutenant Yuna led her squadron in a perfect attack pattern. They came in from 6 different angles, moving so fast the pirate point defense couldn't track them. Yuna's fighter twisted through space, pulling maneuvers that made her console scream warnings about G-forces. She ignored them. 8 Gs was uncomfortable, but she could handle it. 10 Gs hurt, but her body could take it. 12 Gs was her limit, and she wasn't close to that yet. She locked onto a pirate frigate and fired missiles. The frigate tried to evade, but the human missiles were smart. They predicted the ship's movements and adjusted their course. 3 missiles hit the engines. The frigate went dead in space. Around her, the rest of her squadron performed similar attacks. In 90 seconds, they crippled 5 more pirate vessels. "This is Yuna to fleet. Perimeter is clear. Marine insertion is go." Dong-Hyun received the report. "Hyun-sik, you're up. Get our people back." In the Marine Bay, Commander Hyun-sik and his team launched from the Indomitable in assault pods. These were simple vehicles, just armored boxes with rockets. They flew straight at the Celestial Dream. The pirates fired at them, but the pod's armor was too thick. They slammed into the cruise liner's hull and breached through, cutting their way inside. Hyun-sik was the first through the breach. He landed in a cargo corridor and immediately scanned for threats. His armor's computer identified 3 Vractil pirates 40 meters ahead. "Contact," he called out calmly. "Engaging." The fight was brief and brutal. The pirates thought their size and strength would help. But Hyun-sik had been training since he was 18. Korean military service was mandatory, and the Marines only took the best. He moved like water, dodging the first pirate's attack and breaking its arm in one smooth motion. The second pirate fired its weapon, but Hyun-sik was already moving. The shot missed. His return fire didn't. Behind him, 200 Marines poured through the breach. They moved with practiced efficiency, clearing corridors and securing hostages. In the main hall, Thai men heard explosions and weapons fire. The Vractil guards panicked, not sure what to do. Haewon stood up. "Everyone, stay down and stay calm. Help is here." A guard pointed his weapon at her. "Sit down or die." The door exploded inward and Hyun-sik appeared. He shot the guard before the pirate could turn. "Dr. Haewon?" "Here, we have wounded." "Medical team to this location," Hyun-sik ordered. He looked at Thai Min. "You sent the SOS?" "Yes, sir." "Good work. Stay with the civilians. We'll handle the rest." The battle was already over. The battle raged through the corridors of the Celestial Dream. Hyun-sik's Marines moved through the ship like a precision machine, clearing each section with brutal efficiency. The Vractil pirates had expected fear. Instead, they faced something worse: organized violence delivered by experts. 3 pirates barricaded themselves in a storage room, thinking the narrow doorway would protect them. They learned quickly that humans had been fighting in cities and buildings for thousands of years. A Marine tossed a flashbang grenade through the door. The explosion blinded and deafened the pirates. The Marines rushed in before they could recover. "Section 4 clear," a squad leader reported. 17 hostiles down, no civilian casualties. Hyun-sik coordinated his forces through his neural link. seeing through the eyes of every squad leader simultaneously. His brain processed the information without conscious thought, years of training allowing him to track dozens of variables at once. Second platoon, move to the engine room. Third platoon, secure the bridge. First platoon, with me to the cargo bay. That's where they're holding the main hostage group. Above the celestial dream, the space battle continued. The remaining pirate ships tried desperately to escape, but they were surrounded. Bo-Ra had calculated every possible escape route before the battle even started. Now she simply had to execute her plan. "Pirate cruiser attempting to break through on Vector 7, she reported to Commander Dong Hyun. "Destroy it," Dong Hyun ordered without hesitation. The Indomitable's guns tracked the fleeing ship and fired. The tungsten rounds crossed the distance in seconds. The first shot destroyed the cruiser's engines. The second shot split the ship in half. "Target destroyed," Bo-Ra confirmed. Her voice was calm, as if she were reporting the weather. She felt no joy in the kill, but no guilt either. The pirates had made their choice when they killed those hostages. Young-Ho intercepted a transmission from one of the surviving pirate ships. They were calling for reinforcements, begging for help from their base. He let the message go through, but added his own twist. Using the pirates' own communication codes, he sent false coordinates. "Any reinforcements will arrive 3 sectors away," Young-Ho reported with a slight smile. "By the time they figure it out, we'll be long gone." Lieutenant Yu-Na's fighter squadron harassed the remaining pirate vessels, preventing them from organizing any coordinated defense. Her fighters moved in patterns that seemed random, but were actually carefully choreographed. Each pilot knew exactly where the others would be without needing constant communication. This was the advantage of human cognition. Evolved from pack hunters, humans could instinctively coordinate complex group activities. They could predict their teammates' actions and adapt on the fly. Yuna spotted a pirate frigate trying to target one of the marine insertion pods. She rolled her fighter into a dive that would make most aliens black out, lined up the shot, and fired. Her missiles struck the frigate's weapons array, disabling it. "That's number 48, her wingman commented. "Not counting until we're done," Yuna replied, already scanning for the next threat. Inside the celestial dream, Hyun-Sik reached the cargo bay, where the main group of hostages was held. 30 pirates guarded them, weapons ready. The pirates had heard the fighting throughout the ship. They knew the humans were coming. "Human!" one pirate shouted. "Come closer and we kill them all!" Hyun-Sik stepped into the doorway, making himself visible. He carried his rifle loosely, seemingly unconcerned. Behind him, hidden in the corridor, his Marines waited for his signal. "You've already killed innocent people," Hyun-Sik said calmly in Galactic Common. "Do you really think killing more will save you?" "We'll trade the hostages for safe passage." Hyun-Sik shook his head slowly. "There is no trade. You made your choice when you attacked this ship, when you killed those people. Now you face the consequences. We have 30 guns on these civilians. You attack, they die." "Maybe some of them," Hyun-Sik acknowledged, "but you'll all die. Every single one of you. Is that worth it?" The pirates looked at each other nervously. This human wasn't acting like prey. He spoke like someone who had already won and was just being polite enough to give them one last chance. One of the smarter pirates dropped his weapon. "I surrender." "No!" the lead pirate roared and shot his own ally. "We don't surrender to—" He never finished the sentence. Hyun-Sik's rifle came up and fired in one fluid motion. The shot took the pirate leader in the head. Simultaneously, Marines appeared in 3 other doorways the pirates hadn't even known existed. They'd been cutting through walls, positioning themselves for a perfect crossfire. The fight lasted 5 seconds. The Marines' training and superior reflexes made it no contest. They fired with precision, each shot carefully aimed to avoid hitting hostages. The pirates, panicking, sprayed weapons wildly. When the shooting stopped, all the pirates were down. 2 hostages had minor wounds from stray shots, but Haiwan and her medical team were already rushing in to help them. Taemin helped calm the frightened civilians. Many were in shock, unable to process what they'd just witnessed. They'd seen human soldiers move with a speed and precision that seemed impossible. "Is it over?" a young Balusian asked, trembling. "Almost," Taemin assured her. "We're safe now." Outside, Crix the Render realized his situation was hopeless. His fleet was destroyed or scattered. His forces on the Celestial Dream were being wiped out. The humans had turned his easy prize into a death trap. "We have to abandon ship," his second-in-command urged. "Get to the escape pods." "No," Crix growled. "I'll kill that human commander myself. Show them the Vractil are not cowards." He stormed toward the docking umbilical connecting his ship to the Celestial Dream. If he could reach the cruise liner, he could kill hostages until the humans backed off, or at least die fighting instead of running. Crix was a veteran of 100 raids. He stood over 2 meters tall, with muscles like steel cables. He'd killed dozens of opponents in personal combat. His 4 arms could tear apart most aliens. He found Hyunsik in a corridor separated from his marines. Perfect. "Human!" Crix roared. "Face me!" Hyunsik turned and assessed the situation instantly. The Vractil was big, strong, and armed with both guns and natural weapons. Most species would be terrified. Hyunsik set his rifle aside. "You want to do this without weapons?" Crix laughed. "You'll die either way. But I'll enjoy breaking you with my hands." They circled each other. Crix had 4 arms to Hyunsik's 2, massive size advantage, and natural armor. By any logical assessment, the human should lose. But Crix had never fought a Korean Marine. The Vractil lunged with all 4 arms reaching. Hyunsik didn't try to match strength against strength. Instead, he used the pirate's own momentum against him, redirecting 2 arms and slipping past the others. His elbow struck Crix's throat, a precise blow that crushed the Vractil's windpipe. Crix staggered back, unable to breathe. He threw a wild punch. Hyunsik blocked it and countered with a strike to the knee that shattered the joint. The pirate fell. "You see," Hyunsik said quietly, "on Earth, we've been fighting each other for 3 million years. Every possible way to hurt someone. We've discovered it, studied it, perfected it. You never had a chance." Crix tried to rise. Hyunsik ended it with a single efficient strike. The Marine picked up his rifle and keyed his comm. "Cargo bay secure. All hostages safe. Enemy commander down." Dong-hyun received the report and surveyed the battlefield. Of the 6 pirate ships, 4 were destroyed. 1 was crippled and surrendered, and 1 had fled. The Celestial Dream was secure with all hostages rescued. Total elapsed time from first shot to ceasefire, 12 minutes. "Admiral Ji-won, this is Commander Dong-hyun. Mission accomplished. 3,000 civilians rescued, 5 human personnel safe." From Luna Base, the Admiral's response was calm. "Well done, Commander. Bring them home." Bo-Ra was already calculating the return voyage when something caught her attention. "Commander, that pirate ship that escaped is broadcasting on multiple frequencies. It's warning other pirates to avoid human ships." Dong-hyun smiled coldly. "Good. Let them spread the word. Maybe next time they'll think twice before attacking civilians." In the Celestial Dream's main hall, the rescued passengers gathered. They looked at their human rescuers with a mix of gratitude and fear. They'd been saved, but they'd also seen what humans were capable of. The speed, the violence, the absolute efficiency of it all. Captain Velthar approached Hyunsik. "Commander, on behalf of everyone aboard, thank you. You saved our lives." "Just doing our job, Captain," Hyunsik replied. "Your job?" Velthar repeated slowly. "Most species don't have a job like yours. Most of us can't even imagine fighting like that." "That's why you called us," Hyunsik said simply. "Because you needed someone who could." The captain nodded slowly, understanding something profound. The galaxy had been peaceful for so long that most species had forgotten what protection really meant. They'd forgotten that peace required strength, but humans remembered. Humans never forgot. The news spread across the galaxy faster than the human fleet could return home. Passengers from the celestial dream had recorded everything on their personal devices. Within hours, the footage was everywhere. The videos showed human fighters performing impossible maneuvers, human marines moving through corridors with predatory grace, human soldiers making decisions in seconds that would take other species hours of committee meetings. The galaxy watched, and the galaxy learned. In the Galactic Union Council chambers on the Central Station, the emergency session had been called within a day of the rescue. Representatives from 300 species filled the Grand Hall, their voices creating a chaos of different languages and opinions. "Order!" the council speaker demanded. "We must address this situation calmly." A Belusian delegate stood, her forearms trembling. "Calmly? Did you see the footage? The humans destroyed 6 pirate ships in 12 minutes. They killed over 200 Vracthil without hesitation." "The Vracthil were holding hostages," a Matharian representative countered. "They had already executed civilians. What should the humans have done? Ask them politely to stop? There are protocols, procedures. The peacekeepers should have been contacted. The peacekeepers were 12 hours away," someone shouted. "Those hostages would have been scattered across slave markets by then." The argument continued. Species divided between gratitude and fear. Some saw the humans as saviors. Others saw them as dangerous primitives who had just demonstrated terrifying military capability. The council speaker called for silence again. "We have invited Admiral G1 of Earth Defense Forces to address the council. She is joining us via communication link." Admiral G1's face appeared on the massive display screen. She looked calm and professional in her uniform, showing no sign of being intimidated by the hundreds of alien representatives staring at her. "Admiral," the speaker began, "the council has concerns about the recent incident. Some members feel that human response was, perhaps, excessive." G1's expression didn't change. "Excessive? 3,000 civilians were held hostage by pirates who had already executed innocents. We responded with appropriate force and rescued everyone safely. I'm unclear what part of that was excessive." A insectoid delegate clicked her mandibles aggressively. "You deployed military forces without consulting the council. You killed hundreds of beings. You demonstrated weapons and tactics that frankly terrify many species here." "Good," G1 said simply. The word hung in the air. Pirates should be terrified of attacking civilian ships. Criminals should be terrified of taking hostages. If our response terrifies those who would do harm, then we've sent exactly the right message. "But where does it end?" a nervous delegate asked. "You say you deployed a diplomatic escort group. What exactly does that mean? How many ships does Earth have?" G1 paused for just a moment, then spoke clearly. "Earth currently maintains 47 active defense fleets. What you witnessed was a single rapid response group, not a primary combat force. Each fleet contains between 4 and 12 capital ships, with appropriate support vessels and fighter wings." The council chamber erupted in shocked voices. 47 fleets? Most species had 1 or 2 patrol groups for their entire civilization. "Why do you need so many ships?" someone demanded. "The galaxy has been at peace for 2 centuries. "Peace doesn't maintain itself," G1 replied. "You've had peace because nobody has threatened you, but that's not the same as being safe. The moment we stop being ready is the moment danger returns." A elder crystalline delegate, one of the oldest species in the council, spoke up. Her voice was like wind chimes. "Admiral, help us understand. Your species has only been in space for a few centuries. Most of us have been peaceful for thousands of years. Why are humans so different?" G1's expression softened slightly. because of where we come from. Earth is what you classify as a Class 12 death world. For 3 million years, everything on our planet tried to kill us. Ice ages, predators, diseases, volcanoes. Our species survived by learning to fight back. Every generation that didn't know how to fight died out. She brought up an image of Earth. We don't maintain armies because we're violent. We maintain them because we understand that protection requires strength. We study war because we know what happens to those who forget how to defend themselves. We train constantly because survival demands it. You make it sound noble, a delegate said quietly. But you're still talking about killing. Yes, G1 agreed. I am. Because sometimes that's necessary. Those pirates chose violence when they attacked the Celestial Dream. They chose death when they executed hostages. We simply responded to the reality they created. Captain Velthar, who had been invited to testify, stood and asked for permission to speak. May I say something? The speaker nodded. Please, Captain. I've been a spacer for 30 years, Velthar began. I've traveled across the galaxy, met hundreds of species. I've always been proud of our peaceful civilization. But when those pirates attacked, our peace meant nothing. We had no weapons, no training, no ability to fight back. He looked around the chamber. We sent out an SOS and humans came. They didn't hesitate, didn't calculate profit, didn't debate ethics. They simply came because someone needed help. He pointed to G1's image on the screen. Yes, they're terrifying. Yes, they're dangerous. But they're dangerous to those who would hurt others. When I needed a protector, I wasn't afraid of the humans. I was grateful for them. Haywan and Taimin were also present at the council station, giving their testimony. Taimin explained how he'd kept the SOS beacon active. Haywan described organizing hostages and providing medical care. You're both civilians, a delegate noted, yet you acted with military precision. All Korean citizens do mandatory military service, Haywan explained. It's part of our culture. We learn basic combat, first aid, and crisis response. Not because we expect to use it, but because we believe in being prepared. Your entire species trains for war? The delegate seemed horrified. We train to survive, Taimin corrected. There's a difference. We hope we never need those skills, but when pirates attacked, we were ready. The council debated for hours. Some species wanted to place restrictions on human military forces. Others argued that would be both impossible and foolish. The debate revealed deep philosophical differences between species. Finally, the elder crystalline delegate spoke again. I've been thinking about the human phrase we keep hearing, hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Most of us only do the first part. Humans do both. She turned her crystalline face toward G1's image. Admiral, I have a question. What would humans do if another species threatened to attack Earth? We would defend ourselves with every resource available, G1 answered immediately. And if that threat extended to the Galactic Union? To species weaker than humans? G1 met the elder's gaze. We would defend them too. That's what strength is for. Not to dominate, but to protect. The chamber fell silent as the representatives absorbed her words. In the days that followed, the story spread beyond official channels. The footage went viral across the galactic networks. Young aliens watched human pilots performing maneuvers they'd thought impossible. Military analysts studied human tactics. Historians examined Earth's long history of warfare. The Deathworlders Armada became a popular topic on discussion forums. Some praised humans, others feared them. But everyone agreed on one thing. Humans were different. Pirate channels and criminal networks shared a simpler message. Avoid human ships. Avoid human colonies. Avoid anything with their designation. The story of the Celestial Dream became a warning. One of the surviving Vractil pirates in custody on a Union station gave an interview. They moved like demons, he said, his voice shaking. No fear, No hesitation. We thought we were predators. Then we met real predators. The interviewer asked, "What did you learn?" "That there are still apex predators in the galaxy. They just look friendly until you threaten their territory." Back on Luna Base, Admiral Ji-Wan stood in her office, looking out at Earth below. Commander Dong-hyun had submitted his report. All ships returned safely, all human personnel accounted for. Mission success. But the political aftermath would continue for years. Some species wanted human protection. Others wanted humans restricted. The Council would debate endlessly about what humans meant for the galactic order. Ji-Wan didn't care much about the politics. She cared about results. 3,000 civilians had gone home to their families because humans were ready when needed. Her console chimed with an incoming message. Another distress call, this time from a mining colony on the frontier. Raiders attacking. Civilians in danger. Ji-Wan pulled up the tactical display and began calculating response times. Fifth Fleet was closest, 3 hours away at maximum burn. Communications. Route this to Commander Min-jae on the Dauntless. Tell him to move fast. Yes, Admiral. She watched the fleet indicators move on her screen, ships accelerating toward another crisis. This was what humans did. This was what they would always do. Someone had called for help, and humans would answer. In her quarters later, Ji-Wan recorded a personal log. People ask why we maintain such strong military forces, why we train so hard, why we never forget how to fight. She paused, choosing her words carefully. It's because we remember Earth. We remember being prey. We remember what it's like to be helpless against danger. She looked directly at the camera. We joined the Galactic Union because we wanted peace. We maintain fleets because we want to keep it. Some species fear us for our strength. That's acceptable. Fear keeps the innocent safe. As long as criminals and predators fear human ships, civilians can travel in peace. She ended the log and looked out her window again. Earth turned below, blue and white and beautiful, a death world that had created Deathworlders, a harsh planet that had forged a strong people, and now those people stood guard over a gentle galaxy that didn't understand them. That was fine. They didn't need to be understood. They just needed to be ready. Somewhere in deep space, a distress beacon activated. Somewhere, people called for help. And somewhere, human ships changed course to respond. The SOS had gone out. The Deathworlders had answered, and the galaxy would never be quite the same. Let them fear. Let them wonder. Let them debate. As long as the innocent were safe, humans would accept being misunderstood. Because that's what Deathworlders did. They protected those who couldn't protect themselves, and they never, ever backed down.